All right. Good evening. This is the CSRN podcast or our weekend review. What we're going to do before we get started, we're going to take a short 5 minute break, put some music on, and we'll be right back. We wear the mask that grins and lies. One, two, three.
No, they can.
It says we'll be right back. All right.
Stuff happens.
Oh man. All right. So we're finally on. If you didn't hear that song, we had Woman of Wisdom, sung by She Speaks. We might have to play it again, but somehow the tech crew set things up today. I guess they set it up in a different kind of way.
It's okay. We can use that for the next commercial break.
All
Make
right,
sure it gets on there.
all right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. This is the CSRN podcast, or our weekend review, where we come to you live, streaming from Mott Branch Library, and we talk about the things that we've done last week, some of the things that we got going on right now, which is National Women's History Month, and we have two dynamic sisters in the studio. Who would have thought? All right, and we talk about some of the things that we got coming up. One of the things that we're going to be talking about in the near future is Juneteenth and some of the organizations that's planning that. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I use the pronouns in him. I'm one of the co-founders of CSRN, along with Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bey. 8 years ago, they had an idea that just ordinary people could speak truth to power. They came up with this thing called Solidarity Day, or Community Solidarity Day. Then they asked me to come and help plan a couple of protests, and hey, here we are. Today, what do I have on? I have on my brown rimmed glasses. I've got on kind of a light beige or tan or cream beanie. Make it appear that I have hair, but you already know what it is. All right. And I've got on a yellow shirt, long sleeve, got my vest. And as always, I'm dedicated to protecting, respecting, and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. This is the home of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else. And if we could pan out, we've got our plaques for O'Shea. She had her fight, I think either last week, and she won. I wish we could have put them up a little bit higher, but we got to Bisa Butler. All right, and back. Shout out to Bisa Butler for allowing us to use this image back here. Hey, Jody, I think that does it for me for my intro. So who are you? I see a couple of extra buttons. I thought you were reducing the buttons, like you got a couple more. And what do you got on?
What's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, Child of the System, better known as Spoken Truth. So I'm the treasurer of this wonderful organization for the past couple of years. Well, about to run into year 9 come November.
Right.
So, for those of you that might be visually impaired, or you're driving, listening to Spotify or YouTube or Facebook Live, we thank you for coming back to us every single week.
That's right.
Almost 9 years, 3 years as far as the podcast go, because we
take a long time.
It is. We basically turned what was our video minutes when we had in-person meetings into this, so we could still give you and engage with you as we move throughout the community, talk to other organizations, build bridges, and break down barriers between everywhere. So that's a little rundown on everything. Again, we will probably be playing Robin. She speaks, and she won the Best of Toledo this year.
That's right. We had her on last week.
Yep. So we will be playing that again just to do that piece justice. Tongue tied a little bit. But for those of you again that are visually impaired and can't see my lovely face behind this dark, husky, chocolatey, melty voice,
watch out now. All right. Now don't start that. Have them lining up at this door. All right.
Well, they're lining up at the State House right now, but we'll talk about that later on in the show. I am a big brown bear of a man that is covered in tattoos and crystals and bones and stones and a collection of, I guess, family and friends as I've traveled around with my books, my poetry, my artwork, my films, and they come with me. So you can kind of see them here. See me on the other shows. Today I did the Sylvia show. Shout out to you. Thank you for having me on as a guest. I will be back. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. I'm wearing a blue shirt. The hat is mine from my art brand and stuff like that. The shirt that I'm wearing is actually under the change, but it's an E-Bunny shirt. So
okay.
You guys know about that. One of our undisputed champions and stuff like that.
Okay. All right.
And
they didn't give me a shirt. All right. Okay. All right. I got you. Next time. I'll see how it goes down.
Next time.
Yeah.
But for those of you that are trying to get into something, whether it be grassroots, your own business, your own art company, your own any way to speak your voice that is real, live, and true, how do you do that? You do that by having an awesome.
Was that my line? Yeah, you do that by having. We said we're going to be serious this week. All right. Well, starting right now, you do that by putting together a mission statement. And that solidifies who you are. We can always partner up and collaborate, but we have to know who we are. So we put this together back in 2014.
Yeah. So here's how we got it, how we get here. And again, if you would like to come on the show as a special guest, because we don't do this enough, gotta stop being so humble. But if you would like to come on the guest as a show, or you have something that you would like to send us that you got going on in the community more than a week out, let us know. We'll put it on the show. We are not you got to pay us to sponsor us to put something on the show, because this is for the community. By us, for us, that old FUBU thing. But
okay. Got us working for free. All right, okay, all right. It's all good.
But this is our mission statement. That's it. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, the Ferguson, Missouri police officer of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often police brutality goes without consequence and accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events that help foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable to their sworn duties. Politicians, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, that's all, regardless of class, creed, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives, yes, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
All right, and it does appear that we have our sound sounding good today.
Sounding good.
I guess I could say that. All right. When I got to school, the doors were closed. All right. Hey, before we take a break and come back with Ambrea, what's one of your Black Lives Matter moments? You know, we've been doing this since 2014. I met you, I think the first day we met at Ken Branch Library, I think.
Yeah,
What's something that stands out to you?
I got that photo too. Actually, as we were doing our setup and stuff like that, because it doesn't just happen, it's not magic. We ain't got a team of people that we just feed crackers to. We were talking to some guys, and they reminded us about May Day, which they were there at. May Day, for those of you who don't know, is a demonstration that we had in front of the police station in May 2020 to address things that were going on in our community and around the world, and it turned into what we had been trying to tell everybody. Police came out and forced two people that had nothing but tickets, hand signs, stuff like that, and they rubber bulleted them, they tear gassed them, they wooden bulleted them, all that stuff. All the stuff that we've been talking about, that it doesn't happen in America, and if anybody saw the results of what 2020 was, it still did. So that's one of my moments, because we started off peaceful, we left peaceful, and then the police antagonized the people that were still sitting there with their signs and singing "Kumbaya" and all this stuff, and it turned into.
All right, and and mine is the process of transitioning from in-person meetings to where we are now. I grew up at a time where we did meetings in person. There was no such thing as virtual meetings, and I remember really not knowing what that looked like. And I think you, Julian, and Ruth were saying, "Well, let's just do it on Zoom." I'm like, "What's Zoom?" All I know is meeting in person. So we tried to Zoom. I think we got Zoom bombed a couple of times.
We did get Zoom
All right.
bombed.
So I'm like, "Well, what do we do?" They said, "Okay, let's just go to Facebook." So we went to Facebook, and that was fine. And I was used to doing that. So then someone said, I think either Julian or Ruth talked about StreamYard. Okay, this is not a StreamYard commercial. Okay, all right. But I didn't know about that, so I'm telling them, no, just keep it the same. We don't need to change. All right, so hey, they changed anyway.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Change is good.
Right, and just being there for the different changes, and hopefully there's going to be a change to us having a hybrid in-person and report out thing with this, and I'm here for that. Hey, listen, that is my Black Lives Matter moment. What I'm going to do right now is just transition to our guiding principles. And just as we talked about, the mission statement really lets you know who we are. The guiding principles are what we have, that we don't implode, that we just don't quit just because one of us had a disagreement. These are the CSRN guiding principles. All Black lives matter, queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, differently abled Black lives, Black men and women lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly and children lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe.
Ashe.
And Ashe means one who changes a thing or one who makes a thing happen. Thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We seek to transform, not simply react. We want our people to thrive, not just exist. Think beyond the possible. Ashe.
Ashe.
Experimentation and innovation must be built into our work. Embrace the best tools, practices, and tactics, and leave those behind that no longer serve us. Ashe.
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be a part of all of our work. We learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe.
Ashe.
Principled struggle can exist in a positive environment. We must be honest with one another by embracing direct, loving communication. Ashe.
Ashe.
Love, self-love is practiced in every element of all we do. Love and self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe.
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor past struggles and wisdom from elders. The work we do today builds the foundations of movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations. Ashe.
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, intentional, consistent, and essential practice. Ashe.
Ashe.
The most directly affected people are experts at their own lives and should be in leadership at the center of our movement and telling their stories directly. Ashe?
Ashe.
Training and leadership development should be fundamental. Our movement must constantly grow and leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe.
Ashe.
Hey, Jody, we are going to put on a couple of short commercials and we're going to come back with Ambrea. All right? Who she is, what she's wearing, what does she do? All right? This is phenomenal sister. So stay tuned. This is CSRN Weekend Review. We will be right back.
Did you know addiction is a disease, not a moral dilemma? The opioid epidemic and substance use have a major impact on communities of color and many people's lives. Wasion Wellness Recovery Support Center offers culturally relevant inpatient and outpatient behavioral health treatment and recovery support services to any Ohioan struggling with addiction, mental health, or finding sober-safe housing. We must recognize that treatment is available and accessible to all. If you are in need of treatment or want to find out more information, you can call 1-888-728-2713 to talk to someone or schedule an appointment.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN podcast or our weekend review. It is National Women's History Month, so a reoccurring theme is that each week we have some phenomenal sisters on, and of course in April we have phenomenal sisters on, and in May, all right, so it goes on and on. But we just wanted to take some time this month to really highlight some of our sisters that's really getting it in. So as usual, for our CSRN protocol, who are you? What are you wearing? And what do you do?
For sure. Well, first, thank you so much for having me.
Awesome.
My name is Ambrea Mikolajczyk. I am wearing a midi length sweater and dress that I got from Banana Republic. And I have on kind of like combat boots. Red lip and my little tattoo is showing. So that is me. So what do I do?
Yeah.
I am a full service real estate firm. And what that means is we practice all levels of real estate. And so we do development, we have construction, and then we also do property management. And so that's what you call full service real estate.
All right. So we always talk about a person's origin story. As we were looking through your file, it appeared that you played basketball at one point.
Yes, and volleyball.
In volleyball, but we were just looking at basketball.
Basketball.
That's where Jody told me to stop researching. All right.
But
All
I played volleyball at UT, which
Okay.
that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, it is. It
Okay,
is.
okay.
So back to the basketball.
Okay.
All right. So you would think that someone is proficient in basketball, in volleyball, that regular track would be, okay, after that, you're going to be in sports. So what happened that you didn't go through that track of being a part of sports, and here you are in real estate?
Yes. No, actually, when I went to University of Toledo, I did play volleyball, right, which was a great experience.
Right.
In high school, when I was playing basketball, and listen, I was a superstar. Okay,
Okay.
let's be clear about
Yeah.
that. So I was a starter as a freshman on varsity. So, and was
Oh, wow.
a starter all 4 years at Start High School.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Roy C. Go
Oh.
Spartans.
Okay.
And I loved it. The only thing is I stopped growing, y'all.
What?
And unfortunately, not a lot of women are tall. So I was 5'9", and they were having me play number 4, number 5, center sometimes. But I'm only 5'9". So those other teams that we would play, those girls were huge,
Okay.
right? Like grass fed, grain fed. And
okay.
I thought, I'm pretty, so let me switch this up and focus on volleyball where no one's elbowing you in the eyeball.
Okay.
So that's why. But listen, I love sports. I go to sports. In fact, I leave on Thursday to go to Florida for the March Madness.
Okay.
My kids all play basketball. We travel basketball all around the country. So sports is actually a huge part of my life.
What happened with this transition to real estate? How did that come about? And then we want to really get into how are women receive you being at that boss level. We go through the Toledo Blade and some of the other newspapers and a lot of content, online. So how did that transition happen? And how do you operate as a boss in a segment that's dominated by men?
Great question. Thank you. So when I graduated from college, I went into pharmaceutical sales. I have a pharmacy degree.
Oh.
I did that for about 15 years and loved it. However, my husband and I had started investing in real estate on the side. So we showed up at an auction. We bought a house. We bought a duplex, just really curious.
Right.
We approach everything with a form of curiosity. And we bought those properties. They were both fixer-uppers. When I tell you we had no idea we were doing, we were young. We were like 23 and 24 years old.
And
we just know.
5 years ago.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, not at all. This has
All
been many years of a lot of hard work.
Right.
But we bought those first properties and started renovating them, learning a lot about the construction industry and all the pieces necessary to bring a project to life. And we found that we loved it. And we started renting them out. So then we also needed to learn what it meant to be a responsible landlord. Was it fair housing rules, laws,
Right.
regulation, all that good stuff. And we started trying to acquire as much as we possibly can, via auction or share of tax sales or listed with a realtor. And we just started getting our hands on everything we could. And we were using every penny we had.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, we were on a tight budget, all the things, but we knew we had a bigger plan. So fast forward, my husband resigned first to kind of build our portfolio. I was still working because I was comfortable and growing
Okay.
and moving up the corporate ladder. And then people started wanting to hire us for renovation. So they were like, you took
Right.
this building and you turned it into this, and I hire you. I have a house, I've got a bathroom, I've got a kitchen,
That's
I've got
awesome.
a building and a business. Can you help? So we realized we had been doing construction management services
All along.
the entire time. So we knew what to do in terms of getting all your subcontractors, managing a budget, schedule, timeline, vendors, and we were pulling these places together for us as the owners, but I could very much do that for others. And so I decided to take a leap of faith. That's why the name of my company is Arc Restoration Construction, because it's very much like Noah.
Okay.
And I took that leap of faith, and our company's been growing ever since. And so we help not only ourselves with our projects, but clients and their projects as well, just really bringing their vision to life.
All right. Now, every word that you're saying, I'm experiencing so much anxiety. All right. So, what about? I think that when people hear this, like me, I start to think, wow, that sounds scary. I'm going to just pour everything into this. Why not just work my regular job at JCPenney and just, keep it low stress? How did you overcome, if you ever had to overcome those things, but how did you overcome that what if it doesn't work type thing?
Yeah, no, another really good question. So we always kind of balance the risk. And I'm always like, what's the worst that can happen? Can I handle the worst that
Wow.
can happen? If the worst that can happen is I have to sell it, break even, or not make
Man.
money, that's a risk that I'm willing to take. But I need to at least see what the possibility is.
Wow.
I didn't want to keep playing it safe. I could have done that career until I was 65. I was really good at it,
Okay.
but I wasn't challenged.
Hmm.
I loved the people. I loved
That's
everything
awesome.
that I was doing. It was very lucrative, but I knew that there was something more that I needed to just try and see. And if it didn't work out, I can go back and do pharmaceutical sales. I have a degree. I can always
Okay.
fall back on it.
That's an
I always,
awesome thing to fall back on. But all
yeah,
right.
I always
I
felt
gotta
like
fall back on McDonald's.
that
All
education.
right, but shout out to McDonald's. All right. That's where it started. When it says All
Now
right,
we here.
now I'm here. All right.
Now we here.
All
No,
right.
I always say that my education made me brave.
That's
My
awesome.
education made me bold and able to take the risk because I could go back in the pharmacy field at any time. And so because of that kind of, parachute that I always had, I wasn't that afraid to take the risk. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, we on every project are throwing all of the chips in. We're going all in. And we've got 4 kids, which, at some point, yeah, that is scary. But what's the alternative? If I don't do it, who else is going to do it, Brother
Nobody.
Washington? Right?
Nobody.
And so I'm taking the
Man,
worst,
that's right.
the worst properties that everybody says is the eyesore.
Yeah.
Nobody can figure out how to make the finances work, and I make it work, and I make it the most beautiful place on the block. When before people were saying tear it down, it's trash, in mostly communities of color.
That's true.
So
That's true.
no one else is going to save us, you guys. Like, we have to save ourselves, and that's just what it is.
All right. How do you balance family? I think that's where I see a lot of struggle with a lot of professionals, especially some of the ambitious professionals like yourself. Something has to give. Does the family fall through the cracks? How do you manage that?
So about 2 years ago, I felt exactly what you're saying. All the pressure, I felt like the walls were closing in on me, and I just couldn't deal. So I looked at my husband and I said, I've got to go. I'll be back. I love you. I love your family, our children. I'll be back. I just have to go because I cannot think here anymore. So I went to Florida, locked myself in a room, and I got quiet.
That's awesome.
And I started thinking through everything. Is Ambrea, what you're doing, what you want to do, or are you just doing it because someone asked you to? And are you passionate about the things that you're running around and doing? And if not, you need to readjust. So when I came back from my kind of personal retreat, I was incredibly clear. And what I heard was, you need help. I had bought into the lie that we have to do everything as women, right? I'm taking care of all 4 kids, managing their schedule, their social life, birthdays, house, groceries, watering my plants, trying to do self-care, like running for business, 20 employees, community board. What am I doing? So it was a lie that I had to do it all myself. So I came back and I got help, you guys. I went on care.com. I found me a nanny for $15 an hour and, very affordable. I can customize the help that I wanted.
Right.
I got somebody to help me keep my plants alive. I got somebody to help me with cleaning my home, helping me do my laundry and organize. And it changed my life.
That's awesome.
It changed my life. So I don't do this without help. And I do no longer subscribe to it's all on me to get all the things done. You also asked me another question about how difficult is it to be in an industry dominated by men. And it is incredibly difficult. I do not want to pass that over whatsoever. I'm up against a certain set of challenges that I know my male counterparts are not, which makes it very difficult to do the work that I do. However, I've built my network and the people around me up so much that as soon as someone tries to get in my way, I reach out to my network and I am helped. Right? And so when people show up on some angry stuff because I'm in this space, I can reach to people who help me out. So I built my network to help me be great where I am. And I don't accept no. Right? So when people are showing up and they're like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, why can't I? I don't understand that.
Right.
And I just keep going and I don't stop. And not that I'm like beating people up or taking advantage of people, but I challenge the system, which allows me to do the work that I do.
I think a lot of people got to know you, I think, from the Wonder Bread, right? And I think that's when I first saw you. There was a television news segment, and they're talking about the Wonder. I thought they were going to tear that down. I drive by it almost every day. I'm like, no help. Go. Right, you got to go because nothing could possibly come of it. Yep. And then I think, and I said, Ambrea.
Yep.
Mikolajczyk. I've never heard of her. She can't be from Toledo. All right, and we go to check her out. See What's popping with her? All right. Oh, you check her out. All right. So yeah, you're from Toledo.
Mm-hmm. Born and raised. Macomber. Grew up
Wow.
on Macomber Street. Went to Nathan Hill. Went to Robinson Junior
Okay.
High.
Yeah. All right.
And went to Start High School.
Okay,
So
she-
Toledo
hey,
went through
you-
and through.
She checked.
I'm checking all these
checked it all.
boxes.
Yeah,
Okay.
She checked all the boxes. All
I
right.
get that a lot, actually.
All
Are
right.
you from Toledo? People are
Right.
taken aback,
That's true.
which is kind of bizarre, actually, though, for the Washington, right? Like,
but you're in but the thing is, you're in another lane, and you're excellent in that lane.
thank you.
Sometimes, from my experience, we want to see you broke down and tired
Mm,
and struggling
Mm.
and miserable. Once you get to there, now we say, oh man, she's really doing it. But we don't expect to see you doing the job excellent and looking well at the same time. That's the puzzling part
Yeah.
regarding some of our Toledo culture.
that's right.
All right?
That's Toledo
So-
culture. You're
right.
so right.
So that's the thing that whenever you are puzzled, hey, that's what it is. It even happens with us within the protest activist community. They would expect Jody to be angry all of the time, and they would expect us to do things that keep us in the legal system, and they expect us to only care about one thing. Well, when you look at Black life, there's economics, there's health, there's family, there's some social things, there's all types of things that deal with Black life. There's real estate. Until we own land, when we talk about gentrification, we're talking about not owning something and somebody else buying it and doing what they want with it. As people my age, we need to also start investing in our community to buy those blocks.
That's right.
And if somebody else buys and wants to put whatever there, that's their right. And we can't complain about the things that we rent from. We need to go to home ownership.
We can
So
own
if
it.
somebody wants my property where I live, it's going to cost me.
That's right.
But if I don't own it, and if the landlord sells it, we're like dust. We get to move wherever, and some of our political friends will tell us, well, that's gentrification, and we'll be upset. But the reality is we have enough well-heeled people in our community that can make a difference.
That's
All
right.
right. So that's an unpopular opinion, but that's what we're here for. And just as people expect you to look broke down and tired, people expect for us to be unprofessional and angry. And
That's right.
you're not getting that with us. And when we show up unprofessional and angry, you probably earned it. All right.
Yeah. You
All
know
right,
what we're here for.
Right. So listen, before we close out, thank you for being here today. Self-care is a big part of what we do, because even though we talk about things that are challenging in our community and we do call people out, there's a time that we have to pull it in. All right. And we do the type of things that allow us to show back up next week, next month. What is it that you do? We talked about this retreat to Florida. All right. Now you're back. Okay. So what are some of the things that you do to stay balanced, living the lifestyle that you live?
Yeah, no. I actually do that personal retreat every year now.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep. I leave my family, and you know what? I come
Mm.
back refreshed,
Right.
refocused, renewed. I'm a better mother, wife, and business owner because I had that private time. So that's number one. Number two, I go to therapy. Mental health is so important.
That's beautiful.
If I wasn't going to therapy to understand some of the things that I'm dealing with mentally, that will hold me back from being successful in my business. And so just kind of removing a lot of the gunk. I go once a week. I went before I came to this podcast today,
Yes.
and I am helped and I am called out and I am made better because of it. I also read a lot. I try to learn as much as I can. This age of like looking something up and having access right on your phone
Right.
to anything you want to
Right.
know and become proficient in
Right.
and be able to effectively communicate and get your point across. There's no shortage of information. So I read all the time. I am in a book club and I'm reading the book club. Then I've got 2 books I'm actively reading on the side. Like I just love to
That's
learn.
beautiful.
I get on podcast,
Okay.
right? And I'm learning from what people are sharing. And I just reach out and get to know people. And so, but that's a form of self-care for me too, is learning, because then I'm stretched and I'm growing, which is that's how I'm set up. Like
That's
I need
right.
to be achieving, I need to be challenged, and I
That's
need to be
awesome.
learning. So I do a lot surrounding self-care. I do a lot with my children. We have a lot of fun. We go to parks, we play games. And so it's not all business. There
Okay.
certainly needs to be some sort of balance between
That's
all
right.
those things. Otherwise, they're going to run you over.
That's
You're
right.
going to be eaten alive.
That's right. That's right. Art construction and restoration. Do you have any projects that you're working on right now that you wouldn't mind talking to us about?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Of course.
All right.
So, gosh, back in September, Kevin and I met up with a developer partner who has much more experience and skills than we do, and they were in Cincinnati.
Okay.
So the land bank put out a request for proposal for the development of the Spitzer Arcade and the Nicholas Building.
Okay. That's right downtown.
It's right downtown.
Okay.
Some of the largest skyscrapers we have left to renovate in the city. One's a 17-story, one's an 11-story. And lo and behold, we won, you
That's
guys.
awesome.
We won. There were 8 developer groups who responded.
Right.
And out of the 8, we were the chosen group with our partners out of Cincinnati called
That's
Model
awesome.
Group. And so such a big deal. The total project budget right now, and we're still working through a lot of the plans, is about $200 million. And we hope after we're finished to have about 400 apartments between the 2 buildings and about 40,000 square foot of commercial space. And so I'm calling people who want to move downtown Toledo.
Okay.
Now is your time. I'm calling businesses who's always wanted to own, have a space downtown
Right.
Toledo. We're going to have new, beautiful spaces. I'm making the rounds now to try to get some organizations on board to kind of help support, because I'm going to need help occupying the space. It's going to be beautiful. I
That's
feel like
awesome.
it's the next street in downtown Toledo that's really going to be the catalyst
Oh, wow.
and to moving our downtown forward. Because if you walk down there now, it looks like Walking Dead.
It
Like
does.
anybody
It does.
can walk out, any zombie,
That's correct.
and
That's correct.
because
And they
those
do.
storefronts,
All right.
those storefronts are vacant. Those beautiful
Yeah.
glass, what
That's
you
right.
see, nothing's there. And so I'm hoping to, through this investment, activate all that space, beautify that neighborhood. It's going to be a connector to all the surrounding neighborhoods with Warehouse District and Central Business District and Junction Neighborhood and Vistula, right? And so it's just going to be beautiful and something that I feel is just all Toledoans can be proud of when we're done.
All right. Now you just breeze right by that budget. You say, yeah, the budget's going to be $200 million, and I tried my best to keep my face together. I was like, that's almost more I have in my account. But all right. So, is that one of the largest budgets that you?
Oh yeah, our Wonder Bread project was the largest to date for us, and that was only a $7.5 million budget. Okay, so you're
all right.
talking about
So
a
you're
huge level
all
up.
right.
Like I said, I have a great partner who is used to
Man,
projects of this size
that's
and magnitude.
beautiful.
And so I'm hoping to learn a lot from them throughout this
That's
process.
awesome.
They're going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I'm really here kind of boots on the ground, local, understanding our local politics
beautiful.
and how to navigate our local municipalities and kind of get all the organizations in the business community excited about it. And so, yeah, that's kind of our role, but it's going, again, $200 million is like a $250 million
That is correct.
project,
That is
right?
correct.
Like who does that? Didn't I just say I grew up on Macumber?
Yeah,
I grew up on
absolutely.
Macumber,
Look,
right? My parents were
yeah.
18
I still
when
lock,
they had me. I grew up Section 8 housing.
I still lock my doors when I drive by our old hood. Right, absolutely. Absolutely.
So no, it's a huge level up. I think it's a huge opportunity for people like me. That's why I do a lot of shows like this, and I do interviews and I get back and I talk to the babies, because again, I believe that if you don't see it and you don't see people who look like you,
that's right.
you may not think that you can achieve it. So
That's
that's a part of my ministry as well, and I think that God has me here so that I can be an example of what is possible through all the work that I do.
Right. Ambrea Mikolajczyk. I think
That's me. Yeah, you're good. You're good. Way to go with that Polish name.
That's right. Jody, you owe me $5 for that one. All right. Hey, I want to thank. Would you be willing to come back and just give some updates on the It was the sister building and
Nicholas and then
it's, 2 buildings and right. So it's right. So come back, talk about where you are, and hopefully inspire others to be Ambrea.
Yeah.
Some more Ambreas out here.
That's right. We need more. So then it's not taboo.
That's right.
When people see me doing what I do, and
That's
now
right.
it's normalized.
That's right.
And so I do want to ask you, listen, I will definitely be back. I will be sharing updates. This will be a long project. Gosh, it's going to be several years before we even get it up and running. We're going to have to go after every funding source available to man to get to this $200 million. And so, yeah, I would love to come back.
That's awesome, man. If there's anything that we could pitch in,
I'll let you know.
Hey, let us know. Hey, family, this is the CSRN. Thank you so much, sister, for being with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
This is the CSRN, our weekly podcast or weekend review. We will be right back.
Pathway Incorporated Brothers United program believes that children are important. Every day we support and advocate for fathers because when children have involved fathers, the whole community thrives. The fathers that come into the Brothers United program are mostly young fathers who are primarily gang members or drug dealers or those involved in lots of trauma from the time when they were youth until now. This program has fatherhood classes which teach you about your role as a father, the importance of being a father, healthy relationships, how to co-parent and work better together with your co-parent, and then economic stability, how to get a job, how to keep a job. It is so important for fathers to learn to take care of their children holistically, not just emotionally, not just physically, but financially as well, because children need a holistic approach.
I really just needed help with really being a better father and looking for a job to be able to support my kids.
Some of the problems I was facing when I joined Brothers United was communication with my children. Had some time apart from each other for a while, so they gave me the tools to really get back in communication with them.
Fathers will come into our program with their heads down. 2 weeks later, their heads are up. 3 weeks later, they're laughing and talking. 4 weeks later, they're building a bond. And by the time we get to 8 weeks, they're saying, hey, we want to stay here. What can we do to stay connected?
It gave me a better perspective on how to look at things from other people's point of view. You know, sometimes us as men, we get caught up in being prideful and arrogant, thinking we don't need the help. We do. And we just have to put our pride, selfishness, and arrogance to the side. And when the help is there, take it.
Hope plays the most important role in everything that we do because we have to have hope. We have to remember that fathers are important, and we have to not only say it, but we have to live it, we have to breathe it, we have to do it, we have to convey it to everyone.
Let's get a BU Nation on 3, fellas. 1, 2, 3, BU Nation!
The dads give us hope. The dads supply for us on the days when it gets hard. On the days when we've seen more violence than we ever want to see. On the days when we've lost some dads to jail or to murder, they give us hope. And so the hope that lives can change, if you invest in them, if you believe in them, then lives can change.
Brothers United changed my life, let's say, because of where I come from, what I've been through. I learned to understand it is help out there. Don't be scared to ask for it. If you don't reach, you can't grab. That's it.
They made me more employable, more desirable by employers, which in turn helped me provide for my family and provide for my children and my grandchild. So it makes me a better man, a better father, and a better example.
It showed me like how to be better to my kids, so I went and got custody of my son. My son been with me for a couple months now. So they showed me how to be a better parent all around, just a better man, period.
Initially, I didn't know that it could change men's lives. I didn't know that fathers could change. But it's amazing to me when fathers come back a year later, 2 years later, and tell us thank you. Or they'll make a Facebook post and say, look at what I'm doing now. It's amazing to me about the level of work that we've been able to do and the lives that we've changed in just a short period of time. And the fathers who come back and say, thank you, I needed you, and you were there.
And shout out to Brothers United, man. Be you.
Audio Jungle.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN Weekly Podcast, or a podcast weekend review. As always, whenever we I don't know if we could say Haley Jody is a guest. She's part of the crew at CSRN with a reoccurring segment regarding safety. But listen, we're going to have her introduce herself. What's she wearing, and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Haley Shears. I am currently wearing a beige sweater, white shirt, blue jeans, and beige boots. I guess today the color of choice was neutral colors. We all came in beige. It wasn't planned, which is great.
I guess Jody didn't get the email, but that's
Jody
okay.
didn't get the message.
Right.
But it's fine. He still got a little bit.
Okay.
So he has the ivory, so we'll go with that.
All right.
And I am a self-defense specialist now. I do this every week, so I kind of call myself a specialist. So that's what I say I am. And today I just want to speak on the danger of the people close to us. So I'll say strangers, or danger with no stranger is what we'll call it today. And that's just recognizing a lot of times we don't teach our children about the dangers of people close to us.
Right.
We seem to forget that sometimes. And I was watching a show on Hulu called The Parent Test. And the Parent Test was really just testing 8 different styles of parenting.
Right.
And they did a a test on the children, and it was if someone shows up to your home or shows up to school and say, "Hey, your mom sent me to pick you up."
Right.
Do your child know whether or not that person is safe because they know them? Are they going to get in the car?
Oh,
Are they going to leave with them, or are they going to call and check in and see, "Hey, mom, Mr. Sam picked me up today.
Right.
Did you send them?" So just the safety of having code words so your child knows, hey, if Mr. Sam doesn't say, "The mom told me to pick you up. She told me to tell you there's popsicles in the refrigerator."
Right.
So your child's like, "Oh, okay, he's safe."
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's one of the things that we really need to be mindful of. I think we forget that a lot of things that happen to kids and people are from people we know.
Now, what this is an important thing to talk about because this is something in our community that we don't talk about. All right, a lot of these things are kind of swept under the rug, and we just don't mention it. All right, what was it that brought this to the forefront to you to speak about it tonight? It's an awesome subject. Anyway.
What it was for me, as I watched that, I could only think of my own child. Even though I sell protection and I teach protection,
right,
it doesn't mean that my child is knowledgeable in what I know. So that was kind of like an eye opener to me, saying, "Hey, my child somewhere, someone to pick her up. Did she go?" So when she got home, I asked. I said, "Well, if I sent such and such, would you go with them?" And she said, "Yeah." And to me, I was like, "Whoa."
Right.
Like, hold on. So it made me realize that even though I teach the knowledge, sometimes we have to make sure that we're teaching the knowledge, not only to the public, but to our own house. Because we skip over our own people thinking, assuming that they know, assuming that they're picking up, but they were never properly taught. And we dropped the ball in that aspect.
Right. It kind of reminds me of Preacher Kids. And since I'm a part of the faith community, a lot of us just assume that our children are close proximity to us, that they're magically going to get it. So a lot of us don't even engage our children on what faith is, what spirituality is, how do you see it yourself. We just think that some way it's just going to magically implant itself, and we find that that's not true. I've struggled with that with my own children, and I'm glad that I got a clue that you just don't transfer wisdom through osmosis. And if we're in the business of protecting ourselves and really bringing awareness for security, it'd be a good idea if we talk to our children too.
Yes.
All right, they may not, just because they're around us doesn't mean that they're getting it, unless we take the time to talk to them the same way we talk to anybody else.
And I think it's more so for the older children. That's one thing I was speaking with a group of young ladies, and I was just asking them just simple questions. And you think when they're 15, 16, 17, even 13, we're like, "Oh, they know. They don't know. They do not know." The older kids are the ones who you have to kind of focus on more because they have more freedom. They have more freedom to hop in the car with their friends. They have more freedom to call rides. They have more freedom to hop in an Uber. When you're younger, you are more monitored. I'm not dropping my 5-year-old off somewhere and just anybody's going to pick her up, because 9 times out of 10, that 5-year-old is being watched by someone who's saying, "Your mom didn't say that Miss Kelly was going to pick you up. Let me call her."
That's right.
That teenager is more so being like, "Miss Kelly's here," and they're like, "Okay, go," because you figure you're a teenager, you're responsible. We put these responsibilities on our children at such a young age. We give them so much responsibility that sometimes we forget they're still children. They still have to check in. And then, like Ambrea was speaking of, the network of people. Make sure your child knows who that network is.
Right.
Knows who that safety person is. Which brings me to today. I brought the lock. This is a door lock.
It doesn't look like a door lock.
It does not. So what I'll do, Mr. Washington, if it's okay with you, I'll send you the video for this.
Okay.
And then if you could post it on the CSRN.
Will do.
And that way people can see how it works in action. So how it works is this slides in between the door. And then you'll put this on, this part goes in here like this. But when someone tries to open the door, it stops it from opening.
Oh, wow.
You can't kick it in. It's good for hotels. It works in a hotel. It works at home. We keep them in our bedrooms. When I came across this, it was actually the video that I had, and that's the one I'll send to you.
Okay.
It was someone taking a shower, and their uncle was in the home, and they weren't comfortable with their uncle being in the home. So she put this in her door, and it was like she took a shower. She felt safe. No one's gonna walk in on me.
That's right.
No one's gonna come in on me. Unfortunately, everyone doesn't sleep in a safe environment.
That's right.
So these are cheap. These are the type of things that can save your life. It can keep a child from being molested. It can keep someone breaks in your home. Lock yourself in your room with your children. You know, if you keep someone from being abused, it can protect you in so many ways. If you go to a hotel, you hear, I tell a lot of people who travel, grab one. Hotels are not safe.
That's true.
You know, you hear about people going on girl trips, people going to Airbnbs. They're going to an Airbnb, grab a lock.
That's right.
You know, so it's simple protection, but it definitely works. Definitely worth it. We keep them in our bedroom. You never know who will get in your home and you're asleep in the middle of the night. You may not be able to make it out the door, but you can make it to lock yourself in your room.
That's right.
Run to your kid's room.
That's
lock
right.
yourself in your room. You know. So these are just simple tools that help you.
Well, can we find these on prettyprotection.com?
Yes, and I'll also send you that link as well.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
We've got the website right there. So go to the website, protect yourself, and it's not taboo to think about securing yourself. It doesn't mean that I don't have faith in God, that I just leave all of my doors open. I'm sure at one point people used to leave their doors open, but then I guess wisdom and good common sense kind of set in, and people just started locking their doors. Heck, there was a time that you could get gas first and pay after. Mm-hmm. So things change, and in our community, these things are the things that we really need to make our whole community a safe and decent place to live. Before we go, what are some of the struggles that you might come across trying to share the message of safety, being aware, protecting yourself?
Kind of just touching on with Ambrea has said, a lot of some of the struggles I come across is being a woman. A lot of times, especially when I'm speaking to other women, they understand. When I'm trying to reach communities outside of women, they don't. A lot of men don't understand. It's you're being extra, or they just think we're being extra. You don't need this. Just take your garbage out. You know, a lot of people don't understand the everyday dangers and struggle of being a woman. Not diminishing the struggles of a man, but there's just everyday struggle. What I always tell people is that even a homeless woman who has she's living on the street, taken out of garbage cans, absolutely nothing, will be raped and abused. Even at her lowest point, she will still be raped and abused because she's a woman and she's an easy target, you know? So that's kind of how I try to get men to kind of understand that, like, there's always a risk. You know?
Okay.
So that's one of the biggest struggles as well. And I deal with a lot of corner stores, I deal with a lot of corner stores. I have a couple stores that I supply.
Oh, great.
And the biggest thing with that is, even I coming in as a woman, they really don't want to deal with me, or they don't want to listen to me, you know, because I'm a woman selling protection. So that's probably the biggest struggle, is getting people to understand the importance.
Right.
The importance of, you know what I say, being ready so you don't have to get ready.
That's right. That's right.
So those are just minor struggles. To me, they're minor struggles, but as I listen to Ambrea speak of being a woman in the man's world, I'm definitely not up there with her goals. That's definitely my goal,
okay.
To be where she is. But it makes me understand that this is just a struggle of being a woman.
Right. And I'm here to tell you that whatever pushback you get from men, it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's for us, it's an intelligence bluff. We still want you to believe that we're smarter,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm here to tell you that we're not. And keep asking questions, keep pushing through, and you'll see just how weak our opposition is.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, we can learn from you. But we, most times as men, we want to remain in that place where we know better. And we want you to believe that, but don't believe it. All right?
Yes.
It's a fraud whenever we act as if we don't want to hear, whenever we act as if we're in denial. It's a trick
Mm-hmm.
to make you think you're less than.
Mm-hmm.
So call us on our bluff. You'll realize just how weak our argument is.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And I'm telling you this straight from the men's club. All right?
Yes.
They make
You're going to get kicked out.
again. All right. But I know where the bodies are buried, and I'm here to tell you the truth. Okay.
Yes, yes.
All right. Hey, listen. Would you be willing to come back? I think that within a couple of weeks, come back, give the safety tips and being able to walk with a purpose. This is our sister, Haley Shears from Pretti Protection. Hey, family, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with Jody. We're going to do our community shout-outs and concerns. So hang tough. We'll be right back. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review.
Audio Jungle.
All right, we are back. We got some music in the background. At least we can hear the music now. I don't know what happened with She Speaks. So, She Speaks, if you were listening in and somehow we butchered that intro, we're going to find out what happened. All right.
Yeah, we just got the wires crossed and stuff
All right.
like that. But, live, recorded, all that stuff. People, if you have questions, ask us when we're not on Tuesdays.
All right, yeah.
We would love that. We would love to have you come in. If you got something for the community, let us know what our show could be missing that you could add.
Okay, all right. Hey, we are back. This is the CSRN, our podcast week in review. Jody, at this time, one of the things that we didn't do earlier was to give our Nguzu Saba, our Kwanzaa principal word of the day, and that was cooperative economic, or Ujamaa, and that means to build and maintain our stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. And also later on, I got a couple of updates from the Toledo Kwanzaa House. I've got an update from Village Academy too. So for you, you were busy this weekend, as usually you are. What were some of the things that you were involved in, and what are some of the things that you think we need to know that's happening that may be coming up soon?
So last week was awesome. If you live in the Toledo or surrounding area, we had Fantasticon going on at the Glass City Center.
Yep.
That was awesome. I was there, took some video that'll be coming sometime on my page. But there was also the Toledo Fine Art Fair at the same time in the same building over the weekend. We had Uncloistered Poetry Live. Shout out to Joni McKintry, which I will be seeing as I get to the updates coming. She had her monthly, second Saturday of the month at the Attic. So it's like open mic. Come on out. It's a free event. One of the few free events that are available, stuff. I think Black Kite does one and SIP does one on Tuesdays. So shout out to Dorian Strange and Black Kite Coffee, who's been one of our supporters for a very long time. There was also the opening exhibit at River East Gallery. So shout out to Contron, shout out to Luke Stockley, I can say his name wrong, and Chris Rodriguez, or Chili Rodriguez, the largest mural in the country with sunflowers and stuff. They had the opening ceremony for Brandon Lilbridge. There's no T on that, so I'm trying to say it best way I can. But a solo exhibit, you can go down and see that. Check their website or their page. Make sure you go down and check that out. There was also the closing ceremony for Dirty Kicks. Jay Dickerson.
Okay.
Yeah. So him and his brother, which was his birthday. So happy birthday to the both of y'all. And that was awesome seeing the closing ceremony for that. Plus, I think he won a Mosaic Award.
Okay.
So whole bunch of stuff happened last week. Wrapping up on stuff last week. Shout out to Autumn Janine, who does House of Janine, famous fashion designer. She is famous. She may not say she's famous right now, but if you know my crystals and stuff, she's the only one that I let wrap them. She's done a few shows in New York, probably more coming up with her fashion design. She had her Mad Hatter's Tea Party, which I was able to stop by there after doing some more running during Sunday, and it was awesome. So if you're looking for something that's not a sip and paint, not your usual, check her out. Find out when she's going to have her next Mad Hatter's Tea Party. And let's see, I was on the Truth Show is Poetry and Colors was also, so shout out to
Good looking.
Yep, Kay Renee. It's always a lovely time, another sold out event. The next one is on the 6th, so check that out. And so that was last week. Yeah. Also, some other events are going on. Again, if you got events going on, hit us up, let us know. We'll try and get it on our show or on the page. But moving forward to this week. So, starting with tomorrow, I actually opened my email this morning and got an invoice because last year I went to Crime Survivors Speak, which is a national organization that speaks for victims of crime or like myself, mother being murdered and stuff like that, to give us advocacy and to actually change laws.
That's awesome.
So I'll be there tomorrow with Anton Parks and a whole bunch of other people, but I got an invoice today that asked me to be one of their national speakers.
Oh, that's great.
Some stuff that I just take kind of for granted because I've been doing this long. March 23rd is my 8-year anniversary. But now, tomorrow, catch me on C-SPAN. I'll be speaking at the State House.
That's great.
And as a paid entertainer, which is something you don't really get too much in poetry.
That's right.
Speaking from the Childhood Trauma Series. Let's see. Coming up after tomorrow, and I'll start with the morning event, is the Northwest Ohio Teen Book Festival. Our second annual one at Rossford Junior High/High School in Oregon. Rossford. Check the page. It'll be on our stuff. Shout out to Joni again for allowing me to come back the second year, which wrote one of my pieces. I grew up on PBS. So I'll be there. If your kids are interested, it's a free event. So if you have time, 9:30, I think until like 3, there'll be posters. There'll be 25 authors from all over the country doing classes and telling them how you get to write history and stuff like that. From there, just a couple more quick events is, let's see, this Saturday coming up is Artists and Writers. Shout out to Cece. That's going to be at the Lucas County Public Library. Check her out. Find out which library is going to be at. And on the 18th is after I leave from Rossford doing the school fair, I am doing my first. I've hosted open mics. I've hosted community events. Done a whole bunch of stuff over the years. Now I'm doing concert series.
That's right.
That's serious. I downplay a lot of the stuff that I do, but the Mud present Toledo Shamrock Showcase at Main Street Bar and Grill. It's a 12-hour event from 2:30 to 2:30. I'm hosting, performing, vending, doing all the stuff. I come on at 5, but this is a paid artist show. Every artist that you see on stage is not paying to be there because I don't believe in that. So we are paying them to be performers. So whether you know them or not, they're there spending their time, their energy, their resources, their knowledge. So they're going to get something. Shout out to Chris Meager and Joshua for helping all of us kind of over the past couple of months put this together, make sure our artists are great, make sure sound is great, everything's checked off. So come out, have a good time, no matter what time you come in that 12-hour period. We would love to see you. I think that's it for what's coming up. I'll talk about more stuff coming up on the 23rd, 8-year anniversary coming next week.
Oh, wow.
8 years. But
that's awesome.
I think that's most of my stuff. Of course, it's St. Patty's Day. You can find your own event somewhere like that. You know, I don't promote drinking if it's possible.
All right. You know, the Doug is continuing Black History Month, and Sister Mother Diane Gordon sent me this flyer. We couldn't load it up to present it.
It's okay.
But it's the third Saturdays at the Frederick Douglass Community Center. That's the 18th of March, the 15th of April, the 20th of May, and the 17th of June. That's going to be right near Juneteenth.
Yeah.
And what you're having is the Black Wall Street program. And so on the 18th of March, be at the Doug from 2 to 3 p.m. It's $5 at the door for adults. Children eat free. This is presented by the 3Ds. That's Diane Gordon, Sister Dorothy Gray, and Sister Diane Stubblefield Moore. All right. So, yeah, so all our people.
Yeah,
All right, all our
I
people
think she
there.
asked me and Robin last week to be at one of them.
That's
so
right.
You may see us there.
That's right.
next
That's
month.
right. That's right. And then there was something else. I don't know if you knew that Children's Village, no, Children's Village,
Village Academy.
Village Academy. Why do I keep saying Children's Village?
I shared it just a moment ago on my page.
Oh, awesome! Awesome! At Village Academy, they had flooded because of the weather on December 26th. They're flooded, but they're finally reopening, and they're having their open house March 23rd, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Let me see what day that is. Maybe I could skip out of work. 26th. Oh, that's a Sunday. All right. I'll skip out of the mosque to be a I already done told them myself. So come on out to the Village Academy, presents their open house. It's going to be March 23rd from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. They're going to, and as you know, Village Academy has structured classrooms, homework 3 times a week. That's a lot. But
and they're hiring.
And they're hiring physical fitness focus, nutritional meals. I've been there before. That's an awesome setup that our sister Alexia Sims has. And a couple of things, Jody, I want to read from This Week in Toledo. If you could follow This Week in Toledo on Facebook. This is put together by our brother Sean Nestor. This was reported, a led research project by the University of Toledo has found that approximately 3,400 children in Lucas County have lead poisoning. So if you're living in those old houses, have that house checked for lead. The TPS is looking to purchase Scott Park from the University of Toledo with the eye on making it an educator academy. Toledo TPS is also looking to develop that former Libby High School land.
I saw that.
Right.
It's like a pond they want to put there.
Right. And also next Thursday, which is this week, from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., the Toledo Police Department will hold a quality of life community meeting at East Toledo Family Center. Hey, that's over by where you live.
Yeah,
all right. 1020 Barland. They didn't even check in before they post it up. All right.
True. I have to stop in there with my staff.
Well, it says that attendees are asked to provide input on how the police department can serve better. All right, those are some of the shout outs and solutions that I wanted to bring about today. Listen, as we move closer to 5 minutes of heat, is there anything that you think we missed?
Yes. Actually, I want to give a major shout out to Audrey Johnson. She does the Artistry Unbound.
Okay.
I think. But she actually has an art gallery going on right now at 1 Seagate. I've performed there before.
Okay.
But she has an art gallery, and I just saw on her page, it was shared to mine, and I'll be sharing to the group. She has her first, I want to believe it's her first, because she never mentioned a book about, to me before, book signing on March 25th. So I'm definitely going to have to show up. I ain't hear nothing about that, Audrey. Okay. But yeah, March 25th, and if you want to go down there and see the art gallery, I believe it's still going on. 1 Seagate downtown, the big old glass building, our trademark building.
That's
that
right.
Is 1 Seagate. So yeah, check her out. It's Unbound Artistry, I believe it is. Her main page where you can see more about the art gallery that she's put up there. And I'm looking forward to reading this book. I may not be able to pre-order. I don't like pre-ordering. I like handing money to people, let them know I actually care, not just press the button. But yeah. Shout out to her.
And you know what? Before we get into 5 minutes of heat, the portrait that we have in back is from artist Dynamite Sister Bisa Butler. However, they set up our lighting today. So the folks that set up our lighting and our sound is the same person. No, it's
well, the sun set up our lighting. You know, it's getting springtime.
Wow. So hey, look, we're gonna try to do something a little bit different with this portrait so that the light doesn't just affect everyone seeing it, but it's a dynamic picture of a contemporary Frederick Douglass. It's a dynamite picture, and if you're in the neighborhood of Mott Branch Library. Stop by, check it out. We get it on loan until they tell us to give it back. And I think that's all I needed to cover today. Oh, next week, our sister Rhonda Sewell. It's going to be in studio. And the week after that, we've got Sister Yvette Muhammad coming in to grace the studio again. Trying to be kind of a regular. All right.
Yeah, I like having lots of segments.
That's
give
right.
People a chance to be like, hey, I want a segment.
That's right. Well, you can. All right. So we're at the point where we're about to wind things down with 5 minutes of heat. What do you have for us today?
So, and it's very interesting. Out of all the pieces and stuff, as I did the show for Kay, I had to put the number out there, and as our last guest was telling us, that we got to talk about the Black excellence. We talk about so many of the things that we have to overcome. We don't talk about that we overcame, that we are that, I guess, pinnacle of whatever it is we feel. So the last piece that I just memorized, just stressed, was number 5,376. 5,376 in 8 years. And as I'm going back over my book, The Childhood Traumas, and more people are beginning to see it and review it. You'll see it again in Columbus tomorrow. I'm enjoying it. It was beautiful. A good book for me, and that is a healing process book. There's everything in there, but this one is, last week was Mom, so this is kind of for her too.
Okay.
The person that gave me life. So, shortly, let's begin, please, this year. This year, I don't have to heal. This year, I don't have to perform. This year, I don't have to write something new. This year, I don't have to create an elaborate illustration for me to remember you by. This year, my therapy is knowing that I've made you proud. This year, I'm not reliving the trauma of knowing you're not here. This year, I became the ancestor that broke our family's generational curses. This year, it's 20 years later. This year took a lot of unpacking unwanted things I never wanted to talk about. This year, I will smile. This year, I will cry tears of joy in honor of all that you poured into me. This year, I will not shrink away when someone talks about their happy family. This year, I will not regret the things we did not have time to say. This year, I will remind myself that I am the embodiment of you and carry on all the dreams you never got to make reality. This year, I will smile. Love you, Mom. Lily, Lynn.
All right, as always, we snap our fingers. I think I started to close it out earlier than you said, didn't see. All right, I guess I'll try to do my own spoken word too on the end of yours. Sorry about that, brother.
No, it's good. Reading some of those pieces back, because after I write the book, after I'm out on tour and stuff like that, I don't think about it in the moment that I wrote it. So reading it reminds me, takes me to that place when it's not written.
Oh, and you know what? We had some awesome people in our chat. I saw Joseph Dewey in our chat.
Yep.
I see, is that Jacqueline Evans in our chat?
Maybe.
All right. So thank you so much for everybody. And as always, all lives can't matter until what? Black lives matter. And Black lives can't matter until
all Black lives matter.
Justice or else?
Yeah.
Peace.